Harsh Times. Let's see. Harsh Times. Let's see where to start. Harsh Times is a movie. It's a crime movie. It stars Christian Bale. We'll start with the cast. See, it's got Christian Bale. He's the main actor, the leading actor, I guess. Freddie Rodriguez, Eva Longoria. She's in it. They're like probably the main three people is them. But like the movie, it's got one of them casts that. Well, how can I explain? Like, the movie was directed by David Ayer, who most of you don't know. He wrote the screenplay for Training Day. And the movie, I'm not going to say they're very similar. You've seen Training Day with Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke. But that movie is about like a rookie cop getting on with a detective. And all they do is drive around all day and things go down. But it's similar. Harsh Times is similar because you can really tell that he wrote that screenplay, because the movie is Christian Bale and Freddie Rodriguez. They're best friends and they drive around all day. But I'm getting ahead of myself though. The whole main plot of the movie though, it's Christian Bale is like a war veteran. He's an Iraq war veteran. That's what it is. And he has a girlfriend down in Mexico, and what he wants to do, he's got two goals. One side of him wants to start a family with that girl and just live happily ever after, all that. Other part of him though wants to just do horrible things, because before he went to the army he was a gangbanger. He was on the streets, South Central and all that. He was a gangbanger, and that's one of the cool things about the movie though, is all like the movie, he gets back from Iraq or whatever and he goes to meet Freddie Rodriguez and they hang out, and the thing for him, Freddie Rodriguez's character is Eva Longoria is his wife, and she's just constantly pressuring him to get a job, I'm tired of supporting you. And he, part of him wants to give responsibility, but then, his friend, Christian Bale, his name in the movie is Jim Luther Davis. Real, I think, I don't know, that's just a hell of a name, I think. Jim Luther Davis. It sounds almost holy, I guess, but for his character, though, it's opposite. But anyway, so Jim comes back and starts hanging out with him, and Freddie Rodriguez's character's name's Mike. So Mike and Jim start hanging out, and at first he wants to get a job, he knows his girlfriend doesn't want a deadbeat around. But as soon as Jim shows up though, it's like, hey, let's just go hang around, and the movie takes place over a couple days, actually, maybe 3 or 4, I think, but it follows just a few days of them hanging out and just the wild ride that they go through. Like, scenes, let me think of one, like one of the earlier ones, because they cruise around trying to find jobs for Freddie Rodriguez, and they're also trying to find jobs for Christian Bale's character, because he wants to be like, he wants to be in the cops. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be a police officer, because he figures with his background of his military and all that, he'd be a shoo-in. But it was a really good scene though. He gets a letter back in the mail, and they're in the car. They're sitting at a stoplight. He reads the letter, and it's just, they don't. It's denial. Like, there's no way he's gonna get a job anywhere, because the reason that they don't want no department wants him in their department, because they know that he's crazy. Like, they've seen his psychological background, and he just was not right when he was overseas. And he did a lot of war crimes too, like just horrible things, and butchering, chopping people up. It was horrible. But you find that out throughout the movie, that his character, the movie itself is a character study, his character. But anyways, though, like the scene though, he gets a letter in the mail, and it's, sorry to inform you, Jim Luther Davis, that we're not interested in your candidacy, all that, And he's in the car at the stoplight. He just snaps. He looks over, and there's a guy in the next lane. That guy just, bad guy, just happened to look over at the wrong time. Just looked over, and that just sets him off. He gets out of his car. He's drinking too while he's driving around. That's what really sets him off, is he's under the influence. So Christian Bale gets out of his car and smashes that beer bottle on that guy's window and just starts screaming out in the middle of the street, and that dude just takes off. And that's probably the first scene where you realize maybe something's not right with this guy, because what I like about the movie, there's certain parts, like that's one of the parts of the movie where they really do show that he's unhinged, because the camera, the effects that they do, like when he snaps, the camera get like the whole movie gets like a glare over it, like a rage glare, and you could just what the director probably wanted you to do was put yourself in his position, and to make that easier, he made it seem like, what is he seeing? Because when you're upset and you're angry, all you see is pretty much red, your tunnel vision. So that's every time he snaps, they do that for the movie. They send it into like a crazy shaking, like just so you can get the feeling that he's upset. But that's one of the scenes. But like throughout the movie though, those couple days though, they're cruising around trying to find jobs, and pretty much Christian Bale gives up after that he gets that letter, and he's like, whatever. So he wants to go get high. That's what he wants to do. He wants to go score some dope. So him and Mike go, and to the hood, and they just watch this dude selling dope on the street. He's doing it real stupid too. Like, he keeps his dope in like the gutter, and he'll go up to the car and be like, what do you need? Then he'll go back to the gutter and get it and bring it up. Real stupid. And they're watching him, and when he goes to get his shit or whatever, they just go right to that gutter. No, when he goes to give the guy his things, Christian Bale and Freddy Rodriguez's character, they just cruise right over to that gutter, grab all his stash, and just take off. And so the guy, they pick up some marijuana, and they go and get high. And I don't know why, you probably wonder, why is he even telling us that? Because he ends up getting high, and he only does that because he gives up. He figures out, I'm done with all this bullshit. I'm not going to be police, all that. The next day, though, he gets a call from, it's not like his former officer. Well, it's actually one of his former commanding officers, but it's another guy too. They call him and they say, hey, we want you to come in to do some tests. He doesn't know, but he ends up finding out that they want him to go overseas and actually like run like a task force for like special units and stuff. And that's, like I said earlier, that's what the bad part of him wants. He wants to do, not like I said, part of him wants to have a family, part of him wants to do bad things. The bad thing part, yeah, part of him wants to like go back to big gang banging and selling dope, all that stuff. But another part wants him. He realized that he has skills when it comes to shooting and anything military. He knows he has skills like that. He's good at it. And part of him wants to just take that career further. So when he gets this call, he sees it as his. Finally, they're recognizing my techniques, my talents. But this is where his character just, goes crazy again. Like, he has a good, like, I'm not going to say that going over there and doing whatever, because they wanted him to go over there and clear out some villages or something. I'm not going to combat that, if that's right or wrong. But he had a chance to go and do some good. But as soon as they give him the opportunity, the first thing he thinks is, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to start running things. And when he means running things, he's going to start shipping dope back. He's just going to start all types of illegal stuff. That's how his mind thinks. And that's what really sets this movie off, is his character. It's just, one minute he's this, and one other minute he's just out of control. But it's not like it's just a whirlwind of character, because it all just flows together, just watching him act. Very, very good role. And if you're a fan of Christian Bale, you wouldn't... When I saw the movie, I couldn't believe it, because you would never expect Christian Bale, like, he plays like John Connor and Terminator and The Prestige. He does movies like that. His role is generally interesting to me because they're more edgy, but I would never thought that he would play a former gangbanger turned psychotic military gung-ho soldier. I never thought that he would play that role. Then I saw the movie and it blew me away. It was my favorite. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I remember that month I first saw it. It was my favorite movie that whole month. Watch it every day. But what I recommend the movie though is for watch the interaction of Christian Bale with everyone that he comes into contact with. Because like I said, they're driving around all day. They're trying to find Mike a job. And let's see, another actor in the movie. He's a little cameo. It's Terry Crews. He's if you don't know, he's from like Tyler Perry's House of Pain. I think he's on that show. He does the Old Spice commercials. He's that big, ripped up black guy. Everyone knows who Terry Crews is, though. He's in it, and it's a real funny scene when they go to his house. I'm not going to explain the whole scene, but it's just really funny. But it's just, you got to look out for people like that. There's actors that are in this movie that you wouldn't expect them to be in. They have nice cameos. And also the violence. The violence is very good. Gory, but it doesn't go over the line. Like, there's a scene where they go into a Mexican bar to sell a gun that they stole earlier, and as you can tell, the movie does get pretty crazy. They end up stealing some guns later in the movie and going to a Mexican bar to pretty much sell them, because that's what Terry Crews his character sets up this deal for them to go to this Spanish bar with this old Mexican guy and sell the gun and all that and get money. And they talk it out with them. They get business. Dude's gonna cut them in for like $200 or something for this pistol. And everything's fine, and just as they're about to do the deal, the Mexican guy just gets cracked with a bottle on his head. Dude hits him with the bottle, crack, and then stabs him in the throat with that bottle, like over and over. And all the blood's just squirting over Freddy Rodriguez and Christian Bale's characters. And Christian Bale, like, if you just look at his character at that exact moment, like, he's shocked, but he brushes it off. But Freddy Rodriguez's character, no, it fucks with them. It messes them up, because they instantly leave when that shit happens. They get into the car and they're driving, and Christian Bale's just so pumped up. He's just like, man, did you see him? He was squirting out. He's like, da-da-da. It was just insane. And Freddy Rodriguez's character's like, man, I'll never be the same. I can't ever go to sleep again. This is crazy. And then Christian Bale, this is a really good part of dialogue. He's like, that's nothing. He's like, he tells him a story. He's like, I had a war buddy who got both arms and legs blown off, something like that. He was begging for us to kill him or something like that. That's nothing compared to what I've seen. And that's just another little scene to show that his character is just so out of control. Watch the movie if you're a fan of Christian Bale, if you're a fan of anything when it comes to Latin gangs, because you know me, I always talk about movies that have gangster influence. This movie, it's more towards Latin gangs. It's South Central area, like the barrio and all that. But yeah, if you're a fan of that type of genre, if you're a fan of Christian Bale, even if you like Freddie Rodriguez, he does a really good job too in this movie as his friend. But I recommend it if you just want a good movie to just not bore you, because it just keeps going and going and building up to the climax. The climax is sad. At least I think it's sad. It's horrible. But it's justified. Makes sense. But anyway, so that was my take on Harsh Times. Great movie. Recommend it. Go out and find it. I found it at Walmart. Cheap. I should have bought a whole bunch of copies because it's a great movie. But yeah, watch it.